Well, good morning. 10:17 up here, 11:17 down there in up there in New York. Um, Strange. This hurricane was strange from the beginning, and it was strange at the end. It sort of went from a 5 down to like a 3 or a 2 by the time it came across. But it's causing a lot of flooding. A lot of this. There were a tremendous amount of tornadoes doing a lot of damage. And of course, you have guys like DeSantis, who's the governor of Florida, playing it down. You have everybody sort of, the Republican Party saying that, we overreacted or whatever. One of the things in my 79 years that I'm really, really sure of is you can't really, truly, 100% predict what a storm is going to do, okay? I live in Colombia. I live in a valley called Chuca, something like that. Anyhow, I live in a valley, and the deal here is I can wake up in the morning. It's 4:30, 5 o'clock, whatever. Go take a leak, come back, go back to bed. Wake up at 6 o'clock to get out of bed, and it's pouring rain. One minute it's sun shining, the next minute it's raining. These storms come up over the mountain, and I'm looking out the window now, and it's been raining all morning, and that's just very, very unusual that it's lasted this long. Means there's no wind kicking up down here, because everything usually just blows through here. You can have torrential thunderstorms, beautiful sun, rainbows, heavy winds, all of this in the space of a few hours down here. So weather's is almost impossible to predict 100%. All right, guys risk their lives flying into that storm to try and help people predict it. And whatever it is, it in Florida, when you're below, a lot of areas are below sea level, flooding is a danger, okay? You're going to get floods, so they predicted and they asked people to leave, and I think that was the smartest thing they could do. If that thing had hit Florida at a full Category 5 and stayed that way for a couple hours while it was on land, it might have made some new canals or cut the state in half. Don't know. All right? That's weather. That's predictable. But the Republicans want to blame Democrats, want to blame weathermen. Weathermen are getting death threats. That's bullshit. Okay? There are whack jobs in every storm. They want to sit around and sit on top of a building in a Category 6. They want to see if they can fly in a tornado. There's all kinds of whack jobs out there. Just, listen. The one thing you worry about is being safe. Okay? If you're comfortable staying there during the storm, fine. I've been in a hurricane that came ashore in Long Island when I was 5 years old. And I remember oak trees, 3 feet across, getting ripped out of the ground and flying across the yard. It's not fun. If you've ever seen the damage that a tornado can do, or if you heard a tornado, you don't ever want to see one. Okay? You don't ever want to be in one. There's a reason they call it the fickle finger of fate. Okay? Alright, moving on now. And it's not just I should say it's not just Republicans. Politicians are playing with lies when they start bullshitting about the hurricane and the weather, That's when you start to have some serious problems. Alright, next on my agenda. Harris isn't the only one doing it, but she's blasting Trump for these 7 so-called Putin calls and the gift of COVID testing and supplies to Putin during the COVID pandemic, when the testing supplies were unavailable to American people. And he sent them to Putin. Okay? That bromance is still going on. Supposedly 7 to 8 phone calls have taken place since Trump left office with Putin, Putin, what's the difference? There are private calls. Some people are concerned, does this have anything to do with the documents that he saw, that he took from the White House and brought to Mar-a-Lago? I think it might. Because that gives, that's a possibility of what he was going to do with them. He was going to sell them to Putin. make a deal with Putin for something, get a house on the Russian Riviera or wherever they go to have, nice houses, and maybe he was going to build a golf course in Moscow. I don't know. But the one thing I know is you can't trust Donald Trump. Now, whatever he says or does, that's his personality, whatever you want to say. There's only one thing you have to be concerned about with Donald Trump is he's not trustworthy. And this is just another story that proves the possibility that he's a traitor. And I think he is. I think that's the whole deal about that, taking those documents and everything. I think that's true. There's some sort of element of treason there, but, his lawyers are, I guess they don't want to use that terminology since he's a candidate for president, since it would probably backfire on them, But that's a big story, and it's still developing. There's a thing called the Logan Act. Okay, it deals with civilians. It's against the law for civilians to do diplomacy, to try and do diplomacy, and I think that that's a little bullshit there. I don't think he's trying to do diplomacy because Trump doesn't do anything unless it benefits himself, and American people don't understand that, and I don't think they ever will. And if he gets elected president again, whatever happens after that, it's all Americans' fault. You can't blame anybody but yourselves, okay? Because you didn't listen to the people that had opinions that you just didn't want to hear, so you just disregarded them completely. There's stories out there that are factual that you refuse to believe. And of course those stories will all disappear if he becomes president again. He'll whitewash everything to make himself look like the greatest president on the face of the earth. In my lifetime, Truman was probably one of the best presidents we had, but that's, another story. That I don't want to go into right now because that's an opinion. That's not an empirical fact. That's an opinion. That's why bartenders, which I was one for many, many years, don't discuss politics or religion with their customers. Okay? Because there's you can discuss it with a customer that has sympathetic values to you, but you cannot discuss it get in the middle of an argument between two customers because there's no what they call empirical truth. Empirical truth means that there's a definite right or wrong answer, a definitive answer. Okay, there's no such answer in politics or religion, so we don't discuss them. All right. Trump is a moron, a danger to himself and a danger to the country. A very big danger to the country and to your freedoms and your ability to think and do what you want to do. And if you're my age, you're sitting around saying, listen, folks, you got grandkids, they're going to grow up in a different world. What world do you want it to be? Do you want to be the Trumpsters' version of democracy, which is fascism, not democracy? Or would you like them to at least have the ability to try and change the parts of democracy that you don't like exactly? All right? I think Harris has got a problem. Kamala. I don't think she's out there enough. She was pleading with people over the hurricane, not to. This flood of misinformation. This internet and instantaneous contact with people has resulted in I don't know if you can see them. Lucy's here. It has resulted in a cascade of misinformation, too much information. At one point, it was necessary. It was good. We got instant knowledge of what was going on in the world. But now you have to sift through 10 articles to find one that, resembles what you believe to be the truth, that you think is honest and truthful, whether it agrees with you or not. You know, I mean, if you're a Trumpalite, that's a new word I just made up. If you're a Trumpalite and you're sitting there, you have, if you really want to know the truth, you have hundreds of articles you have to go through and try to determine what's real and what isn't. That's it's not only misinformation, it's an information overload. We're getting too much of it and it makes it too difficult to sift through everything. You know, I tell people that I do these videos with about to make them around 15 minutes because I start to wander. My thought patterns start to wander and whatnot. I also know that my whole life when I sit around and I listen to people talk, unless there's an extremely interesting subject to me, just to me, not to you, but for me, I'm out of there at the 10-minute mark. I'm like, you know, I'm thinking about sex, I'm thinking about anything but being right there, you know. So you guys have to be careful what you read and what you don't read. And I'm not saying, that's why I try to tell everybody, this is an opinion video. This isn't a factual video. Some of what I might say might be factual, but these are my opinions, not anybody else's. I don't have anybody else to get my opinions from down here. Well, I do, but I don't put them up on the air. You know, I mean, I do have friends down here that speak English and are very interested in what's going on up there, and it's difficult because they laugh a lot. You know, when somebody tries to explain our politics and Donald Trump, they love our system, but they don't understand how what's going on now can happen in a country that's, you know, so big and powerful. It's acting like they are a small, not third world country, but second world country. Okay, all right. Next up. Trump flipped out over empty seats in Pennsylvania. Speech he gave like yesterday or the day before, and they showed pictures. It was empty, you know, and people were leaving. Again, he's boring. Why is Kamala Harris getting more people? Well, for one, she's the underdog, and people want to see what the underdog has to say. And secondly, she's giving new ideas. Trump's got the same bullshit every time he opens his mouth up, and it's beginning to get boring, you know. And it's showing. And even his fellow, what do you call those people? Trumpets and, you know, whatnot, are getting bored with him because nothing's changed. There's no new information. He went to the same place twice, told the same stories twice. Nobody cares after a while, you know. They've either already made up their decision to vote one way or the other, and they just stop listening, which is bad because they don't listen to either side. All right, okay. And now, I said this yesterday about Truth Social. Okay, I have a problem with this. I've read a lot of articles claiming that and I've seen them on major business pages and whatnot, that Truth Social, which is Trump Media Corporation, is the parent company, and their stock was down to around $14 a share. And then all of a sudden I start to read this article about people getting scammed for hundreds of thousands of dollars on Truth Social. Okay, and as far as I can tell, these are legitimate articles about this. And people are jumping off Truth Social, and Trump even talked about possibly selling all his stock in Truth Social. And the next thing you do, you turn around and the stock is up to 23. It went up $3 this morning. Why? There's no reason for that to happen. Okay, there's no legitimate reason. There's no more advertising dollars. There's no more anything. There's absolutely no legitimate reason for that stock to rise that way. Okay, so something screwy's going on out there, and as I said before, I think it's quite possible we're getting played. Don't know how, but we are. All right, I have reached that 15-minute mark. Again, I am really desperate for Kamala information, and I think this is going to cause the fact that there isn't a lot available to on the places I'm looking, that there might be some problems with the election. We might be looking at Trump too. Oh, I just want to throw up. All right, talk to you later or tomorrow.